Hi, it's Jackster. This new music track in Plotagon sounds awesome. But anyways, in this video I'm going to be reviewing Lazy Town 2, Trashy's Revenge. Yeah, I said I'd do Detective Javier next. In fact, before that, I said I'd do Finding Dory next. But there are reasons why I'm doing this first. Reason number 1, my schedule is getting a bit cluttered. Reason number 2, the review for Detective Javier is going to take a while, so I just felt like doing the shorter reviews first. Sorry Zoe Simeonity. And reason number 3, this movie has just been completed. This film is the sequel to DBG Channel's 2017 film, The Lazy Town Movie. And just before you guys ask in the comments, no, I'm not a fan of the original Lazy Town. But either way, this movie is made by my amazing friend DBG Channel, so this should be great, right? Well, let's see. The storyline. The plot for this movie goes as follows. Trashy, one of Robbie's evil monsters in the first film, makes a weapon that will be able to defeat Sportacus once and for all, but will he be able to succeed? Going for the very overused revenge story, I see. While this isn't the worst offender in terms of overused revenge stories, this is still a very weak storyline. There isn't really much new things added in this movie from the first, well except for a few characters or so and a superhero element. But they don't feel fully developed enough to feel like it's really part of the plot. But the biggest problem with the storyline overall, and probably the biggest problem with the movie, is how rushed it is. Even DBG Channel himself admits that he rushed this into production. And I can definitely see that he wasn't pleased with the end result for this film. I calculated the parts of the movie together, and overall, this movie is only 42 minutes long. This is more like the length of a TV special rather than an actual movie. Even Happy Wheels, Chaos Ensues was longer. Due to the short running time, everything feels underdeveloped and extremely rushed. Not even some of the filler in the movie could stretch the running time pretty far. The whole plot in general is also very predictable, since the concept of a villain's revenge has been done so many times. You know that the villain likely isn't going to win. It's just the typical revenge story scattered with so many cliches. And also, I just wish that the movie didn't have a huge rant about it by DBG Channel at the end. Sure, the storyline is bad, but I've seen a lot worse movies than this. I'm looking at you, Food Fight. Thankfully, not all of the storyline is bad. I can say that the humor is pretty good, and the action scenes are pretty engaging, definitely a lot more than the first film's action scenes. It's not in the levels of The Return of Jafar bad, but this typical revenge storyline is very cliché, predictable and extremely rushed. I'm going to have to give the story a 3 out of 10. The animation. So, not a great start for the movie, eh? But it should get better with the animation, right? Yes, thankfully it does. DBG Channel does make some great animation with Plotagon, and this is no exception. One big highlight of the movie is that the character designs are better than before. They look a little more accurate to the original TV show. The movements are smooth, and the effects are well done. The characters have a lot of expression while talking, and the animation really gets intense when the action scenes commence. One of my favorite parts of the animation is when Pink Speedster, who is really Stephanie, would go super quick. That's a really hard task to pull off in Plotagon, especially with some of the limitations it has in the animation compared to some other animation sites. That could only be done with the Joey and Jennifer voices, which unfortunately got removed last summer. But there's just one nitpick with the animation in my opinion. Yes, it's great, but because this movie actually took nearly 2 years to make, dating all the way back to 2017, some of the animation when the movie was produced back then does look a little dated compared to Plotagon animation today, as there are fast and slow commands, text plates, fade in and fade out effects and more. You can see the difference throughout the movie though. But even with that one small nitpick, the animation is still a joy to witness. I am going to give the animation a 9 out of 10. The characters. As this is the sequel to the Lazy Town movie, which are good characters, we should be glad to have these characters return in the sequel, right? Well, yes and no. Of course, it is nice to have these characters back, Sporticus, Stephanie, Pixel, Ziggy, Stingy, Robbie Rotten, Trashy, etc. But the biggest problem with them is that they just don't feel that developed, and some have very limited screen time. You can thank the rushed production for that. It's not that the characters are bad, because they aren't. There's still plenty of solid humor coming out of some. The voice acting is good. They're easier to look at because of the better character design. Trashy and Robbie are still fairly enjoyable villains, and there's still some nice cameos. What really bugs me though, is that some characters, like Trixie, Evil Stephanie, Mayor Me and Swell and some others, have hardly any screen time. Correct me if I am wrong, but I believe Trixie only appeared for one single scene in the movie. Evil Stephanie is disguised as Robbie in the final battle, but we don't get to find out what happens to her or if she actually contributed in the battle or not. Mayor Me and Swell serves less of a purpose than in the original film, like some of the other returning characters too. And while there's a new character in the movie called Remonica, who is Trashy's minion, she just feels like a wasted cameo that maybe could have spiced up the plot a bit, but no. Don't get me wrong, these characters are still good, but it's the rushed production that makes them feel underdeveloped and wasted the cameos. I'm going to have to give the characters a 5 out of 10. I'm not trying to be mean, DBG, but this film was disappointing. It's not terrible, I've seen much worse, but it's not good either. If you feel offended by this, then I'm sorry. Lazy Town 2, Trashy's Revenge is a very underwhelming and cliche-filled movie with a typical revenge story that goes nowhere, extremely rushed production, limited character screen time, and some wasted potential with some new additions to the film series. Sure, the animation's great, the humor is solid, and the action scenes deliver a lot more than in the first film, but it's not enough to keep this film afloat. As for recommendations, if you haven't seen the first film or you aren't a fan of it, I suggest that you just skip this film. If you do enjoy the first film though, I recommend you check it out, but maybe lower your expectations. Hopefully Lazy Town 3, Mind Games will make up for this. Lazy Town 2, Trashy's Revenge has earned a total of 17 out of a possible 30 points, which translates to an overall score of 5.5 out of 10. Do you agree with my opinion? Write your thoughts on the movie in the comments if you've seen it. The link for the movie and its predecessor is in the description below, as well as the link to DBG Channels. Well, channel, thanks for watching this movie review. If you enjoyed, click the like button down below, and if you are new to my channel and you like my content, subscribe and hit the bell to be notified of future content I post. And if you want to spread the word about my channel, share this video and potentially other ones I've done too. I'm not trying to be a sellout though. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. And, at the time of making this video, there's only 6 more days until the second Lizzie movie premieres. If you're watching before the premiere and you haven't already, set your reminders for it. If it has already premiered, then I suggest you check it out and leave a like on it if you enjoy the movie. Goodbye. Subscribe by clicking on my profile picture that has just popped up, and click on this profile picture that has just popped up to subscribe to my amazing friend, DBG Channel. And click on these 2 squares that have popped up to check out my latest video and a random video for a bit of variety. See you in the next video.